Right, so the recording has started, and here we go. Okay, so we've covered the agenda. And this workshop is essentially part of our Fit to Bid, Win More Contracts program. We're doing this with the Park Royal and for businesses based in neighboring local authorities like Ealing, Brent, and Hammersmith and Fulham. This session falls into sales enablement. So how do we get you to sell more, to grow more, to get more clients? Okay. Rethinking, so let's take a step back. COP26, net zero. It's a buzzword now. We know the ordinary man, including all of us here, is going to be expensive in some way or the other, but that seems to be the way the world is actually moving towards. We can't avoid it any longer. Even if you're a denier, there's no way out now. So, but it concerns us. It concerns our well-being, and it's basically a bit more sort of personal. What are we doing as individuals? The difference between that and the circular economy is what are we doing as businesses? What are we doing to grow our business within the circular economy and therefore impact the green world as we know it? So the circular economy is something that businesses can get involved in, adapt their supply chain, etc. You might have noticed on top there, we've got the British flag and lovely islands with a magnifying glass. It's basically a sign of Brexit. So how do we work within the circular economy to take advantage of post-pandemic and post-Brexit opportunities? Those are some questions you need to ask yourself, and we'll try to address them here as well. So let's look at a traditional linear flow. So we take, we use, and we waste. A lot of our stuff, if you look at if we go on a shopping trip, and that's sort of personal, you go on a shopping trip, you come back, the amount of stuff we throw into the recycler, whether that recycle box is actually recycled by local authorities or it goes to landfill, it's in some cases it's a moot question. So it's essentially us basically reacting on the basis of what companies have pushed on us. So taking scarce of resources, designing and making a product so they can be shipped to clients, used for a limited time, whether it's plastics, glass, metal, etc., and a lot of stuff ends up on a landfill. The circular economy looks at it in a slightly different way. So it starts with us as the user. So we look at it. What can we reuse and repair as a business now? Because as an individual, unless you've got a big sort of a craft workshop in your back garden, it's going to be a bit difficult. So what can the business reuse and repair or get involved with collaborations and partnerships to do that? What can we return and recycle? And therefore, instead of taking, can we make and therefore reduce our waste? So limit what we take and the waste while creating value for all. That's the basis of the supply chain, the new supply chain, and the circular economy. Okay. If you got any questions, put them on chat, and Tony will help you. Will help us to facilitate that. So. But there'll be lots of time for Q&As later as well. So put this into context. It's essentially a circular economy when our outputs become our inputs. So if you look at these two, these two economies or these two processes, they feed into each other, and that's the important point. As an example, on the left, you've got the waste of a fashion brand, can be used for insulation, plastics for recycled bottles, water, paper. I used to work for Xerox, and I know the issues we had then about 20 years back about recycling our paper and recycled metal for cars. For car parts. Who's to say that the mobile phones we use, the PCs we use, and the electronics are not recycled amongst themselves? There could be a percentage of the metal parts, the plastics, etc., which come back to make that same machine again. How does it impact us? Okay, how does it impact your business, our business? We are finding we work with local authorities, we work with chambers, with a few sort of growth hubs, with a few universities, and what we are finding is that if you look at the business model, we're finding there is an increased requirement to win new business in your proposals, whether it's a tender or whether it's a proposal you've sent on a B2B sort of a basis. There are social and environmental impacts and social and environmental benefits. You've got your commercial customers who will buy from you based on price, quality, availability, loyalty, etc. Then you've got your impact ones. Impact ones. Are you doing something for the economy? As an example, you walk into a coffee shop, you might be inclined to buy a coffee which has been made, a fair trade, or a certain, a percentage of that of the revenue is actually given back to the farmers, or you've got a farmers alliance doing some stuff which is good for the economy, good for the environment. Those are impact, and impact customers are increasing in terms of their monetary value, their volume, and local authorities, large organizations are also impactful. In a sense, they're also looking for social value. So what do we mean by social value? When we put together a bid, a proposal, a new opportunity, can we build in something which says we are creating a difference? The social value is a difference that we can make to the community that we're operating within. Whether it's you've gone totally net zero if you have, or if you're on the path to do so, or you've got elements of the circular economy which will make a difference. Be assured, as I've just said to you again, we work with local authorities. We are finding in their ITTs, applications for tenders, their RFQs, that's a request for proposals. There are clear requirements as to what are you going to deliver for social value. If you're bidding for a tender or a proposal for more than 100K, you actually have to, it's not just fluff anymore. You've got to deliver. Are you going to be able to give back a percentage of your revenue? We were very surprised about 3 or 4 years back. We received a tender from Harrow, and they actually asked us, okay, if the tender is worth 100K, what percentage of that amount are you going to give back to the community in terms of what are you going to pay for in terms of free events, local communities, etc. So what do you do with that how do you answer that? One of the ways to answer that is we're doing something which makes a difference to the local community, and that can mean, and the circular economy, make, reuse, and repair has a big role to play in that. Right, this is a case study. Some of you might know the two people on the left, Ruth Ann and her partner and a business partner, Ian. They came to see us about 4 years back at Metrobank in Chiswick, and they've become firm clients and family friends now. They run a business called the Pallets Yard, which is a tough business. They are trade only, but they pick up pallets from any and everybody. They turn over approximately £500,000, so it's a substantial business with a few large trucks and a few staffs, the big yard, etc. in Southall. Sorry, and the things they do is obviously the business as usual. It's pallet sales, deliveries, bulk purchase. They clear your pallets, and then they have a massive operation. A substantial part of their business is recycle and repair. And they've even had a few case studies themselves where people who use their pallets for interior, design, DIY projects, etc. They suffer from the same issues that any manufacturer or reuser does. Is that the supply chains are getting more and more tricky. They're getting more and more stretched, and they would love to take any pallet. So if there's anybody here who's got access to pallets and wants to do business with a good supplier, feel free to put it in the chat and we'll get you to connected. But what's important here is that this is an example. We never thought of this. That there's an example of of a real SME getting involved in the circular economy now. How do we learn from this? What can we do to recycle, reuse, and repair? So in summary, it helps us create an alternative sort of a business model. So it helps us innovate as well. It saves costs because if you want to repair, reuse, etc., it definitely helps us to access new markets. As an example, the pallets yards were based around Southall, Ealing, Hounslow area. Now they're doing business in West London, they're doing business in Hertfordshire, they're doing business in Watford. Why? Because what they're saying is that we are participating in the circular economy. This is an example of what we do, and we'd like to do more business with you. And clients saying, hey, this seems to be a good idea. These guys are not only good in what they do, but they're doing something good for the environment, for the community as well. You can develop new IP. You can commercialize that as well in terms of what you do, in terms of recycling, etc. The whole thing is going to drive new regulation and compliance, access to talent, more people getting involved in this. But the most important bit for us, for you and for us, is engaging with local organizations, creating. There's a new buzzword apart from social delivering social value. There's a new sort of buzzword. It's called building a community wealth, and the community means local. So by reusing, recycling, repair, creating an impact sort of an economy, attracting impact in customers, you're engaging with local SMEs, and that's important. That's key to our success as well. Because if you look at, as an example, we bid and we won a tender earlier this year, where with Brent in the council issuing very large home care tender for about 2-3 million or so pounds. Not for us, unfortunately, it's for adult social care providers. But they gave us a list of 50 adult social care providers who had access to who were their incumbents, and they they identified that about half of them were not based in the local area, not based in the borough of Brent. So they gave us a new list, and they said to help us to train them. We did. We put them through a fit to bid sort of a program, a bespoke one, and 17 of those were able to bid for new tenders, to bid for new contracts with this new big home care tender. And that's an example where local authorities are trying to create and to build local community wealth. That's a live example. It might resonate with a few of you, but local authorities are going that way as well. And if local authorities do, then the businesses and the sort of tier 1 and the tier 2 suppliers who supply to local authorities will also go that way. I'll say, this is being recorded. We sent a copy of the slides as well. And Re-London is essentially the big agency which is funded by the mayor. There's a lot of resource there. They do workshops, one-to-ones. They do awards. They do grants. So if you're in that business and if you're interested in knowing more, even if you're not in that business, this is a good site to visit. Okay, so make a note of it. If Tony, if you can put it in the chat, it's relondon.gov.uk. There's a lot of it's all a free resource and great people to work with. Okay, so we've come to the first of half of the sort of show, as it were. Now I'm going to move to partnerships, and there's a good reason why. Now you're going to be a bit surprised, I'm sure, to see this. Why did this cheetah come up on my screen? Well, just take a step back and imagine. Okay, this is a cheetah. It's the fastest land animal in the world, and it's in full flight. Great, so a picture. But there's a big but coming. Okay, the big but, it hunts alone. It's a very short chase. Just basically, it's down the road. It gets very tired very easily. It lasts less than a minute. It can't climb trees. Leopards and lions can climb trees, but cheetahs can't climb trees. It runs away from bigger cats, and it's got a 50% success rate. Their family life cycle is very short, and a lot of cheetahs go thirsty, hungry, etc. On the other side, in order to develop sustainable. Have a look at this proverb and just think about it for a while. Okay, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And if you compare the cheetah with the elephants, they are big, of course, they are slow, but they roam in herds. Very few animals dare attack them. Very few. So as a business, you are sort of creating a moat around you. If you partner with key organizations, is my point here to start with. They go long, so they can travel across long sort of ranges. They rarely go hungry. They're always in business. They rarely ever go thirsty, and they live for a long time. So look at it in terms of if you want to go fast, go alone. You won't go very far. If you want to go far, go together. So on that basis, we're going to be looking at how do we work together, whether it's for the economy, whether it's for the circular economy or for your own business. Right. This is a slide which took us as a team approximately 10 years to make. We are extremely proud of it, as you would expect. But it took us 10 years to put together. And why? Because creating partnerships and collaborations take time, takes effort. But we are proud to say that at any given time, most of these brands, these logos, these organizations, we're doing some sort of business with them. We are in touch with them. We are their preferred supplier. We may not be doing business this year, but next year we will. We're not be doing some business in this quarter, but next quarter we will. But this is what we stand for, and I would urge you to take advantage of what we're saying here and try and build in for yourselves a partnership model, a collaborative sort of a model, which will help you to not only get yourselves out of the pandemic, but get new clients. And when I say the pandemic, is because we know, and we've lost a few of our good clients, existing clients that just not disappeared. Some clients have gone elsewhere. So how do we? But there's a whole new world out there. There are opportunities which we, as an organization, we are trying to take advantage of, and I would urge you to do so as well. But think about doing so by sort of developing a few partnerships and collaborations. What we're going to cover is trying to help you to identify how you could actually do that. This is what I call a partnership canvas. And we're going to look at two business models, your partner's one or a potential one, and our model. Okay, we look at the value offer, what the partner desires, what you can offer, what do you transfer, and how do you create value and who pays for it. Okay, that's the essence of how when we talk to a chamber or a local authority, we have this in mind. What can we exchange? What can we do together? What are our responsibilities? What are their responsibilities? What can we do together? What can we exchange? What can we track? What are the outputs? Meaning, what are we doing? What are the outcomes? Meaning, what are the results? And therefore, can we do it together and make it beneficial and successful for everybody? So why partner? Sometimes you want to meet the expectations of new customers, or it could be a new territory. You might need access to their customer base. As an example, we partner with chambers. We have our own databases with the chambers want to access, but in most cases, you want to attach yourself to a chamber to access their client base. You want to deliver a specific sort of solution. So you might want to partner with somebody who has access to Heathrow or to a university or to a school or to a shopping center, depending on your business model. You definitely want to stay ahead of the competition. Not everybody looks at partnerships. The people who do, we have the competition as well, but we can proudly say that slide you saw earlier, not a single one of them has that could afford to put up that slide with all sort of sincerity. Most of them are one person sort of bands or two people bands. We have a team, and that's what I'm asking you to do. Develop a team, a network, and look at how you could invest in partnerships to grow your business. There are several types. Okay, here we're talking about supply chain, but there are marketing ones. You might want to jointly get together and market to a particular sort of an audience. You might want to get integrated with your supply chain to ensure you have adequate stocks. And not only that, you might your sort of the people you sell to, as an example, the pallets yard, they're traders. So the bigger companies, largely more successful in pallets yards ones, who turn over 3, 4, 5 million pounds, who have direct access to Amazon, etc. It's very difficult for pallets yards to have sort of a direct access to them. But using intermediaries, using larger companies, and being involved in a supply chain helps them to do that as well. Integration in terms of finance, it could be technology, so different types of key partnerships. And when you look at a partnership, please look at it very honestly and say, what am I going to exchange between the two models? Not what's in it for me only. That is not a partnership. That will, if you do that, if you do go down that route, it won't last for long. I know it. Okay. So it's a value exchange between two business models. What are you going to do? What are you going to do jointly, and what are they going to do? And that's the essence of a service level agreement as well. So your key partners, a strategic, you could be, sort of developing a partnership with non-competitors. You could also do it between competitors. There have been 2 instances in the last 3 years where we've had to collaborate with competitors in order to put together not necessarily joint bid, but a joint program. So we've bid, they've bid, but a local authority or the supplier or our client has essentially come back to us and said, great, but you two guys need to talk together and put together in one sort of phase to it, one sort of program, one calendar schedule. Sometimes you have to grit your teeth and just do it. Okay, it's a requirement, and then you learn from that as well. There's so much that you can share information and learn it as well. Buyer-supplier relationships we talked about to assure reliable supplies, and partnerships helped us to optimize our costs. As an example, we work with local chambers. When we win a contract, we pay them a certain amount in cases to help us to market our services to an audience that we want to reach. Now, if we were to invest ourselves in that kind of a database, that structure, etc., it would be a lot more. So by partnering and collaborating, you will help to save your costs. It helps us to get economies of scale as well, scale and scope. So we can increase our scope and increase our scale in terms of territory, in terms of the time frame, etc. It reduces risk and uncertainty because if you partner with someone who knows what they're doing, well, they know what they're doing. So hopefully you're reducing your risk and your uncertainty. You can always ask them questions to help you to overcome your own issues as well. And you want to acquire a particular resource or activities. You want to be able to get involved with an organization, an event. You want to be seen as a sponsor. If you want to get across to Heathrow, you want to get across to Brunel University, local universities, etc. Partnering is key. Partnering is absolutely key. Okay, so before we move on to the exercises, some key questions to ask yourself. So if you look at the graphic on the left, it's not in isolation. It's using the canvas to look at where you are and where you want to be and what you can essentially transfer and create in value. So who are our key partners? Who are our key suppliers? So suppliers can be our key partners as well. What key resources are we acquiring from them? And which key activities do perform for us? And the reverse of questions as well. Right, exercise 1. If you could just take out a blank sheet of paper, a few blank sheets would be useful, and use the chat facility. So this is a broad question. Can you identify 1 to 3 successful partnerships? And if you can put them into chat, Tony will read them out and we can answer any questions. I'll start first, and I'll say one of the first things which come to mind as an example is Uber. Uber has a strategic partnerships with the drivers. If you look at Uber Food Eats, They got two strategic partnerships. Their partnerships are their restaurants or their food suppliers and their scooter guys, the drivers. So that is a strategic partnership. These three, I mean, Uber wouldn't work otherwise. So think about it. Can you think about any industry sort of partnerships? I want you to start thinking about developing your own one. But before that, what can you put down? I'll give you a minute. You don't have to name them. You can give an example of key partnerships, which one relies on the other to make it happen. Strategic. Anything on chat?
There's just a couple of things coming in now, sir.
Great. If you can, I unfortunately or unfortunately, I can't see the chat facility.
Okay. So Melvin said that he's got councils and boroughs to invest in local businesses and recycling businesses.
Yes. That
Darren with Waitrose and Ocado, or now M&S Waitrose.
Very true. Whilst you're looking at it, I'll give you another example. As I said to you earlier, I work for Xerox. Did you know that, and things have changed now because things have got electronic and everything's gone online. But for about 10 to 15 years, there used to be a huge room at Heathrow Airport, a massive room, and I mean the size of almost half a football field, where we had this massive machines called Docutex. And these used to print 200 to 300 prints a minute. They are serious. These are not offset printers. These were digital ones. Okay, so you might think, what the hell is Xerox doing in Heathrow? So basically, they used to print the manifests early morning, started about 2-3 o'clock in the morning when you get the flight manifest. And in those days, without a manifest, without a printed manifest, the plane couldn't take off. Now that is a strategic, partnership. No manifest means no flight. Now, as I said, everything's gone online. They still use it as a backup, but it's not the key sort of methodology. Same with the Bank of England, and I know I've seen those football fields, machines printing out the Bank of England minutes, their policies, etc. No machine, no printout. No printout means the world doesn't know what's going on with the Bank of England. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to print cash, otherwise I wouldn't be here, but that's different. Okay, so you got the idea of strategic partnerships. If there aren't any more, I'll move on. So now this is about yourself. Okay, so identify a potential partner or a supplier, but it's got to be strategic for yourself. Now you're thinking about yourself and how you're going to innovate and how you're going to look outside of your business. Who are critical suppliers? What partnerships are critical? Okay, as I said, so take a few minutes and write down what is critical to your business. What suppliers and partners are sourcing our key resources? As an example for Brandwin, people like Tony, who are on, Charlie, I think is on the call as well. They are critical to our business. Don't tell them I said that, please. Okay, so if you've written down one or two key people, because the exercises which follow are based on that. So which of our suppliers and partners are sourcing, which of our partnerships would suit our needs? Okay. Exercise 3. The next thing is desired value. What assets do we seek to leverage from a partner? In other words, what is our partner willing to offer us? If you don't know yet, you might want to put on a few points about what you might want to explore, discuss with your potential collaborator or partner. What is our partner willing to offer us? What do we need? Or what are they willing to offer us? So it's a slight difference there. What we need and what they're willing to offer us comes from a conversation. It could be a database, it could be more customers, it could be a product, it could be supply chain, it could be inventory, it could be design, it could be a footfall, it could be a referrals for recruitment. It just depends on your business model. Think about it strategically. So you've identified a partner, a key partner you either have or you want to improve on, or it's a new one you want to go after. So what is your partner willing to offer us? Right. What do you offer your partner? What does our partner value in us? Again, that comes through a conversation. What do you offer? Maybe internal. What do you think you're good at? But your partner might say, hey, but I think what we really want is this. And that happens very often. What does our partner value in us, you believe? What can you offer that you are unique, you are reasonably sustainable? Is it cost? Is it price? Is it a product? Is it service? Is it footfall? Is it referrals? Is it extremely good design? Is it contacts? Is it a network? What does our partner value in us? Or is it the ability to write good proposals? Are you an individual consultant, which you have some expertise which you can offer? Anything you want to put on chat would be useful as well. Just to have this sort of conversation about, give us a flavor of what your business is about would be good. Darren, I know you are in MS Office business. You're a tech supplier. You're still going to be. With an assumption you're in that same business, or if not, please tell me. But in any case, can you just put down on chat who you believe could be a strategic sort of a partner, and what is the value that you offer? Melvin, can you clarify your business as well, please? What you do? You can either unmute yourself and speak up, or just put it on chat. Would be great.
Thank you very much, first of all, Nausir, for having me here. I think what a lovely initiative, and everyone talks about what I can take. And when I've read some clever people, they always say, first ask yourself what you can give. So
true that.
And your cheetah and elephant, what a superb example.
Thank you for that. So what is your business, please?
So now, sir, what I do is we run a fund which invests in UK listed companies.
Right.
But the prospectus, our rules are restrictive because we invest it's an open-ended fund. So we are really unable to invest in private companies.
That's a shame.
Well, that's exactly where the partnership comes in. You're absolutely right. So we are trying to create a vehicle which is like permanent capital or a closed-ended fund structure. Okay. So that we can invest in obviously most of these companies are private companies, including the pallet company that you mentioned, obviously.
Yes.
B, they are small, obviously, because the concept is new. Yes. And C, we don't want to be pressurized of selling those businesses in 1, 2, 3 years, because we are really looking at this from a 10, 20-year perspective.
Right. Okay.
So we are a fully FCA regulated firm. And what we are currently kind of looking at options is to create some kind of a capital structure in partnership with local boroughs and councils, as I mentioned in the previous point, because obviously they've got their local regeneration funds, etc., etc. But let's say if you go to Harrow, I'm just making it up. If you go to Harrow, normally these councils and boroughs do say that this money is for our council, so we don't want you to invest in Brent or Camden. And so does that make sense now, sir?
Yes, it does. Why don't we take this offline? I've got some ideas we can talk about. Sure. You have my details. I have your details. But thank you for sharing that, Melvin. Yeah. Very interesting.
Thank you very much. It's a lovely initiative. And and what a methodical way of going through.
Okay,
What do you offer?
we haven't finished. We haven't yet finished, so there's lots more exercises to do.
Okay, let me shut up.
Okay, thank you.
So now, so we've got Darren saying they're Microsoft channel partners with a specialism in cybersecurity, and love to offer cybersecurity awareness and training, but not directly. And he wants to partner with a training organization, in turn for which they get exposure to the customers.
Interesting, Darren. Again, we should take this offline. There might be some opportunities, but cybersecurity is big. It's it's in sort of in a great demand, but that also has its own issues. If it's in great demand, then how do you sort of differentiate yourselves? How do you scale up? Do you plan to stay a one man or one person band, or you want to create an organization and scale up through partnerships? So that's something we can talk about. Darren, if you haven't taken advantage of the one-to-one sessions, you could speak to Tony, and between Tony and myself, we can give you some ideas about how we can help you as well. So if you want to take that offline with Tony, please do so. Okay, great. So
also now, so
yeah.
we've got Cassandra, who runs Workadation, which is basically a business coaching young people and recruiters and delivering programs that encourage sustainable employment. And what we mean by that is giving new entrants to the employment market the skills that they need in order to do well in their job. So it's more about those human skills you need rather than the technical skills. And Cassandra's saying that now that the business market has reopened, getting people back into employment is a major focus for local authorities. So she's looking to partner with some of those local authorities.
Well, I think that's a great idea, and going sort of beyond that, Tony. You're facilitating a workshop in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
About exactly this, or which includes this. So you might want to consider getting Cassandra involved a bit more. But we can definitely again take that offline and have a conversation with you, Cassandra. No problem.
Yeah, I've been having some one-to-one conversations with
Great.
Cassandra as well.
There you go. Okay. Great. Okay, if whoever else is on the call, if you haven't taken advantage of the one-to-one sessions, please contact Tony. There are 3 free sessions. We have no agenda, your agenda, and we will help you. Either Tony will help you himself, or he will refer you to a specialist. Tony is well connected in the Park Royal Business Group. He's on the board, and please do take advantage of that. Okay, great. Any more, Tony, or shall I move on, please?
No, that's all now, Nelson.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tony. Okay, exercise 5. So these are transfer activities. Remember I said to you earlier, what are our responsibilities? What are the joint responsibilities? And what are your partners' responsibilities? So how does it all come together? What are the key activities and key resources? What do you really need to do to make this successful? What is expected of you? What key activities and key resources do we need for a successful sort of a partnership? How will we collaborate? What is the basis of the collaboration? We've got to do something. And to do something, you might need some resources, whether it's staff, finance, database, materials, retail space. I don't know. It just depends on your business and model. So, but you need to do something to make a partnership successful, and you need some resources to back that. So a quick list of key activities do we need for a successful sort of partnership? Key activities and key resources. Ideally, your resources they could be independent, but in a lot of cases, they'll be linked to the key activities. And it could include, as I said, funding, people, skills, knowledge, assets, access to certain information, etc., which you may or may not have now. So some could be aspiratory, some could be in a development mode as well. Okay, so and the emphasis on key, there are things which are admin tasks, etc., which we all have to do to earn a living or to create a business, and which underpin that as well. But these are key activities and key resources. Just think about the strategic partner that you're thinking about. What do we need to do, and what resources we need to develop a successful a relationship? Okay. I'll give you another 30 seconds. It's the question asks, how will we collaborate to connect and transfer value to our partner? So transferring value, that's what I meant by key activity. It's not business as usual. It's something special we need to do to make that happen. Transfer value to our partner. Because if there's no value, nobody's going to pay for it. That's the bottom line as well. So therefore, we look at the two boxes we've just done is desired value and value offer. They've got to come together, and when they come together is when the action happens. So this is the action sheet. So what are we doing, and what do we need to do that? As an example, Uber needs to hire drivers. Very simple. Whether it's Ocado, they need drivers, they need vans, etc. As an example. Okay, right. So the exercise now is coming to what are the expected outcomes? A partnership. We often say, let's get together, let's test it, and let's just see how it works. So the key question is, what is the result of the value transfer? You've looked at transfer, you looked at your desired value, value offer, you've transferred it, you've done something, you've paid for it, jointly or individually, and you've created value. So what is that value you're going to create? What are the expected outcomes, return on investment? What do you expect from that? It can be well-being, there can be monetary, commercial, more space, more time for yourselves, more efficiencies, cheaper products, access to markets, depending on your business model. What are the expected outcomes? Outcomes, quantifiable outcomes. We don't have to put down at this stage and say, I need £500,000 from this relationship. But you might want to do that in 3 years' time. But what do you need? What do you need now? What are those transfer activities going to result in? What is the value you're going to create? Is it something in the community? Is it social value? Is it community wealth building as well? Is it longevity? You want to have a long-term business in a relationship? Again, looking at it from the partner's point of view, and just the key point is transfers, value transfer between the partners, not just what you want out of them. You might, if you're really getting what I'm saying, I'm sure you are, I hope you are, can you put down an expected outcome for the partner as well? That what if you're working with a local authority, or you're working with a supplier in China, if you're working with a design agent in London, what do they expect as well from a partnership point of view, not just a client perspective? Okay, another sort of 30 seconds. Think about the value, think about joint value transfer between the two parties. So it's not just about yourselves or themselves, it's coming together. What would be the basis? This is basically the bottom line. It defines the basis. If you do a review in 3 months, not 3 months too early, if you do a review in 6 to 9 months, a year's time, and you might want to increase or change the activities, you might want to increase or decrease the resources. What would you judge your partnership by? What would you say? Well, we did this well, or this needs to be improved. What is that you did well that you want to do well with? Okay, So we've looked at the partnership in Canvas. I'm just looking at the conscious of the time. We're okay with time. Partnership agreements. So in a lot of cases, whether it's the service level agreement, I talked about the three aspects of the service level agreement is what you do jointly, and what they do, and how it comes together, what's going to happen in terms of money transfer, etc. But you need some agreements, and the agreements are generally, there could be, in some cases, they're a page, some cases they are 5 pages, and if you're doing a multi-million-pound deal, it could be a door stopper. And you will have to hire a commercial sort of a lawyer who can create a template for you, and you can reuse that template. So it could be a one-off expense as well. There's a lot of stuff on the internet as well. But if you're entering into a first-time relationship, you are and an important one, and all the more reason if you get a contract which is 8 or 10 pages, have it checked out by a lawyer. If you get a contract which is 8 or 10 pages, it's usually 50 grand or more, and that is a substantial amount for any business in terms of exposure. You don't want to be down by 50 grand because you didn't read the contract well enough, because that could really hurt your business. So look at the parties involved in the agreement, services to perform by each partner, profit, method of billing, reporting structure, person of contact. In this case, you might also want to say a lot of partnerships, a lot of bigger clients and key suppliers ask us for a business continuity plan. So basically, if I couldn't make it for the session, in short, if I couldn't make it to deliver the session, today, whatever reasons, COVID, etc., I would have to ensure that this session went ahead. In short. So a business continuity plan, project management plan. We have a project expert here in Tony. If you're not speaking to Tony about risk analysis, please do so. When we won this tender, there was actually a requirement. This program is paid for by HS2. A lot of you didn't know that. This is paid for by HS2 because of the Park Royal and the Old Oak area. And this is for business. This is their version of community CSR, delivering value, community building the skills and capacity of local area businesses. But they asked us seriously. They asked us 2 questions on business and continuity and the project, plan with redundancy, etc., risk analysis. And Tony had massive input into that. So I just want to give you a live example that you will be asked about it as well if you are entering into a partnership. Duration of the agreement, whether it's 9 months, 1 year, rolling, etc. Expected outcomes and milestones. Milestones are essentially periodic events that are on the basis of which you could have your governance or your reviews or meetings. Reporting process with timelines. This is always an issue because if you're working with local authorities and with procurement and with universities, with semi-government, be aware that they will ask you for a report. Say, I've got to submit something on Friday. They will contact you on Thursday evening. So be prepared for that. Okay, we are well used to that, unfortunately. Quality control and audit. How do we ensure that the services are quality? Is there a feedback form, referral forms? Are customers allowed to give stars on a Google or a TripAdvisors, etc.? And you get it signed by the right person. It's very important that it gets signed by a senior person. And I mean by a senior enough person who's hopefully has got his or her own redundancy or a backup plan in case they move jobs. Okay, so that's important as well. So again, if you want to, there's stuff on the internet, but if you're looking at a substantial sort of a contract, it's best to get hold of a commercial lawyer. It'll probably cost you, I would say, under $1,000, but you can get a template you can work on for many, many years. Okay. So how does this link in with what we were saying earlier, with the circular economy, creating partnerships in terms of distribution channels, facilities, energy, parts, spare parts, material, infrastructure, waste, co-creation of in the blog world, the digital world is huge in terms of co-creation. Transformative, can we do something now which will have a big impact on what we do next? There's a lot of good stuff on the board of innovation. I've been working with them since the pandemic, started about 2 years back, and they are our good, friends and our supporters as well. So we get a lot of stuff from them, which they're happy for us to use. And this is and when they say happy for us to use, this is very topical. It's related to supply chain. It's related to Brexit, post pandemic. How do we do things a bit differently? And therefore, what is we all talk about innovation, and we all want to innovate. We as a company, as individuals, we want to innovate, adapt, innovate, do something a bit different, differentiate ourselves from the competition, launch new products or services, or adapt existing ones. And you can see the two differences, where the economies of working within a closed inward sort of situation and looking at externally through partnerships, external collaborators give you access to alternate markets. That line there is absolutely, just says what it is. It might be existing, it's an existing market, but you have no access to it. It's an alternate market, for you. It can also give you access to new markets. So think about collaborating and a partnership. This basically, if you're doing something different, you want to do something a bit different. We all want to do that. We want to adapt. We want to change. We want to launch something new. Because competition, or you have a good idea. You've met somebody who's given you a good idea. Partner, and find a way to collaborate and access those markets. Those markets are impossible to reach on a one-to-one sort of basis. I'll give you an idea. We are here talking about fit to bid. We launched this about 2 years back. We trademarked it. Now we are working with local authorities. We've got HS2 on board on our workshops, and some of you may have attended them. We got construction companies like Segro, Volker Fitzpatrick, companies we never dreamt would come and speak at our workshops. The only reason we did that is we opened ourselves up completely and said, we're going to collaborate. We're going to launch a new product or service. I can't tell you right now, but it's something to do with taking advantage of the post-Brexit world. Okay, so you might be able to guess that, but that's for next year. That is, again, very different, alternative market for us. Okay. The key partners in terms of a summary, okay, identify the business challenge, the process, conduct your research, do research on both sides, on yourselves and what the partner wants or what the partner does, who the key people are. Identify key reasons for partnering, go to the canvas for yourself, shortlist them, engage with them, then look at designing what are the terms, what is the basis, what are the outcomes, prototype. You could, but when I say prototype, it doesn't have to be a physical one. It could be a conceptual one in a sense. Let's see if this partnership works on this particular sort of a project, or let's see if it works for 3 to 6 months, and then we see what's next. Test and experiment. Let's try this thing first. If it works, then we can expand, increase the scale, refine, and launch. It's much like a startup. And you can see this. These are similar sort of topics. If you're going through a startup class, it's not much different. This is to do with a partnership. And the question to ask again yourselves: who are our key partners, key suppliers, key resources, and key activities? So who are our key partners? Who are our key suppliers? Because suppliers you want to embed and to integrate yourself as close as possible to them, especially in this day and age when supply chain is becoming a big issue. Key resources are we acquiring from our partners and exchanging, and what key activities do they perform for us and what you're exchanging? If you answer these questions, you will go a long way in being able to develop longer term relationships. And it's essentially, it's not you working in isolation. The canvas model on the left, on the right, it's integrated. And you will soon, find that the new products and services we've launched in a fit to bid, the one we're launching next year, is in close relationship with existing and some new partners as well. So if there's no way we could do that on our own. And so that's the basis of our business model. I would urge you to think the same way as well. It gives you longevity. It creates a moat around the competition. Competitions suddenly don't realize where we are gone. We've gone in. We've sort of taken a leap forward, and they are still looking at what they used to do 3 or 4 years back. And just imagine yourself in the same place as well. Do you want to be doing the same things you did 3 or 4 years back, or you want to just jump up a few steps and give your competition a big surprise? Right. So last exercise for you, top 3 action plan, whether it's get fit to bid, win more contracts, whether it's develop your own, developing key partners with an objective to win more business, win more contracts. Top 3, this is your personal self-contract and commitment to deliver. So if you can write down at least 1 or 2, if not 3, and put your top action in chat, and we can see what you want to do. It could be something which is not very big, but extremely sort of critical. And it's going to have a by whom is going to maybe you or your business partner or somebody else doing it. And it's going to have a by when. By when, I'd say put in maximum 3 months. You put anything next 6 months, it doesn't happen. And more than 3 doesn't happen. So it's vital few, not vital too many actions. So top 3 actions, number 1, number 2. If you can put that down in chat, and if I can request Tony to read them out, we can have a quick conversation around your key actions. What are you going to do, Darren or Melvin, Cassandra? What are you going to do to the next 2 or 3 months to develop key partnerships? What are 1 or 2 key actions you're going to take?
Well, I think, may I go first?
Yes, please.
Sure, thank you. Well, I think the first thing is to really identify those councils and boroughs who really share our ideas and share our ethos. I think that's the key thing. And obviously after that, because I think, Nazir, and my knowledge about the spaces in terms of how boroughs work is pretty limited, but from the little that I've gathered, it is rather obvious that they would want money to go into their own boroughs.
Communities, true that. Okay. So what you're saying is researching, reaching out, and trying to find people who share your values and who can benefit from what you offer.
Yes, exactly. Because it's no use pretending and, let's say, talking to companies in Camden, but the Camden Council doesn't have the money, or the borough doesn't have the money, but actually the borough of Harrow has the money. And we don't want to be pretending as investors in smaller companies and wasting their time, really.
Okay.
Makes sense?
All right. Okay. And thank you for that, Melvin.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say, all right, Cassandra, or anybody else? Darren?
Hi, sorry, am I all right to go ahead?
Yes, please.
So for me, I think, yes, there is an element of research, but I think I've kind of done that, and part of this session was about looking at who these people are and who those partnerships are. But for me, the next thing then is going out and building those relationships, helping them understand who I am and
Yes.
what value I bring to their organization or their service, because particularly colleges, universities, trying to partner with them. And obviously local authorities who have a department that is specifically tailored to delivering employability, skills and training. There is a side of employability, skills and training, which is part of a, social value thing within construction companies when they're building much bigger developments, community developments. Yes. So looking at some of those and looking at where I can get in touch with their social value people.
Right. I mean, if you want, it's called Section 106.
Yes.
That is what the funding comes from. Where if there's a large sort of a development, a developer has to spend a certain sort of a percentage of that in the local community. That could be a skill sort of a program. It could be actually building a new GP practice. It could be building a nursery school. It could be giving low business rates to a supermarket who wants to come into the development. So, but you need to get in a bit early for Section 106, because Section 106 does tend to get promised at the time when the contract's awarded. So you need to get in a bit early. Just a thought.
Oh, okay. All right, lovely. Thank you. I didn't know that. Thanks.
Okay. If there's anybody else, or we can move on.
Nazir, just wanted to say that Cassandra, that she's in recruitment. We are looking for somebody who's good in sales. So if she has a candidate, very happy to look at them.
Well, you can exchange things on chat, or if
Sure.
you want to write to me, I can forward your email, or to Tony. We can
Sure.
forward your email on to Cassandra.
Sure.
Thank you very much for that, Bill.
Thank
That's
you.
an opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now,
That's
so
great.
Darren's also popped in the chat.
Yes,
We're
Darren.
currently working
Yes,
with
please.
3 other IT support businesses in different geographic areas to develop a new product and market this product. We've just started the project, but have had our first meeting that's been launched in January. So that's a clear plan.
Okay, that's great. So are these new organizations, Darren, are these clients, are these suppliers? Just to clarify, please.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, so yeah, these are new. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Yeah, these are businesses, IT support businesses that we've been involved in sort of a mastermind group with. And we all decided that we needed something new to take to market. So we've had our first meeting actually was this morning. We've got a clear plan, and we intend to sort of get ready over the next couple of months, and we're going to launch that new product in January, and we're going to be sharing all of the sort of promotional and marketing materials for it, and we'll just brand it as our individual businesses as we send it out.
That's absolutely brilliant. So so what's the key purpose? Are you accessing a new market, or you want to consolidate your marketing? What's your key outcome?
3 outcomes really: access new market, grow our customer base, and reduce costs by sharing the development of this product and the marketing.
Excellent. I think we should do a case study on you, Darren. Great idea. Great idea. Well, I'm not saying that as a joke. Okay, you might hear from us in a couple of weeks. No problem. Which will only mean a lot more publicity for you. Great.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and thank you for that. There isn't anybody else. Let's move on to tell you what's coming up next. So here we are. We are here on the 24th of November. Sorry, the 10th. The next session is on the 24th of November, which is going to be facilitated by Tony. So if you can say a few words there, please, Tony, would be great on what's going to happen.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nauza. So back in October, we did a session on recruitment and looking at the skills that employers should be looking for in terms of how to bring on recruits and where you can go to find resources and those sorts of activities. So it's very much focused on the employer and how they go about employing people. This recruitment seminar is going to focus on the employee. So what sort of skills do employees need to have, and as an employer, what sort of skills are you looking for, and how do we help those potential recruits into our organizations, and what do we need to do to support them and help them to thrive? So it'll be a panel. We'll have Billy Seago, Marcelos Lindos, and Ali from the Forge at Park Royal. We'll have our HR expert, Lance Hobbs, who'll be able to answer some of your questions about the process of hiring people and contracts and some of the technicalities around it. And we'll also have a representative from the Federation of Small Businesses, Matt Jaffa, who'll be talking about the sort of small business perspective of that and the things that the FSB is seeing with the hiring space as well. And because they're a national organization, it gives us a broader perspective on what's happening. So that's what we've got coming up in 2 weeks' time. And it'd be great to see all of you on that call.
Thank you, Tony. Excellent. That seems to be a very interesting one, and it's very sort of topical as well. We've come out of furlough. This is the 2nd month after that, and it's the job market is in some ways it's very active. In some parts, in some aspects of it, people are still looking for jobs. So this will be a good one for sure. It's also very sort of timely as well.
Yeah.
Okay, you got the opportunity to speak to our wonderful team who are focused on the Park Royal area. A lot of, I'm sure that some of you are speaking to Tony or to Elsa or to Northshire, and we've got a team of specialists. We've got more people, but this is what I could fit on one screen at this stage. And if you haven't done so already, please contact Tony, and he will schedule or fix you up with the right person, with himself or with anybody else. But take advantage of it. It's at no cost. There are 3 sessions. Okay. A program, delivery in the Park Royal area. We've got workshops, skills workshop, which you're attending now. We've got 2 diagnostics. Some of you fill that in. We've got a general business regeneration one, and which is called goal mapper. We've got fit to bid, which is basically asked you. It evaluates your state of bid in readiness, your policies, etc., and you get a report as well at the end of it. And then followed up with one-to-one sessions. So. Take advantage. The program runs till the end of March. Hopefully, it'll be extended, but take advantage of it now. We're likely coming up to quiet times. A lot of opportunity to work on our business. So, if you attend these workshops, it'll help you to develop your business for next year. So, we've come to the end of it. Any questions, or we've had a good chat. So, any questions? Please feel free to put them on chat, or you can even unmute yourself and ask a few questions. Happy to answer any questions. Tony and myself are here to ask any questions, to answer your questions. Okay, so thank you for attending, but look forward.
Yes, Yoni from the Brentford Hub has said we're a charity manages a community centre. We provide venue hire for meetings and workshops, long-term and short-term leases and licenses. They organise community events and programmes. And since reopening, we found it particularly hard to get businesses to utilise our services. And I've got a conversation in the calendar this afternoon with you, Yoni, as well, so we can cover that as a topic. Okay.
So these, just to clarify, these you offer, apart from leases, etc., this is based in the Brentford area?
This is the Brent Hub.
Brent Hub, the Brent Hub, sorry, the
Brent Hub is, yes, Brent, not Brentford.
Okay, Brentford, sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Where is that in terms of location? Is that within the Park Royal area, or is it in Brent Council, somewhere else? Do we know?
Sorry, yes, this is Brent Hub is within Stonebridge, just on the border of Park Royal.
Okay.
I guess we do share similar interests, and we do have partnership work around that area as well. Hence why we come under I guess that particular association.
Is this also known as Challenge House? Is it the same?
No. Do you know Brent Start?
Not 100%. The reason I'm asking this question is we've just won a contract starting from January to do some work in Brent.
Okay.
Fit to bid. And one of the locations we're looking at is Challenge House. But if you send me an email, you've got my email address here. I'll put it on chat. If you send me an email, I will put you through to Elsa, who is managing the program on our behalf, and see if there's any way we could help you and to do some sessions where you are as well.
That would be absolutely brilliant. We welcome any businesses that's willing to support, as well as hire the venue.
Great.
My email, I've just messaged my email address. Please do save it. If you have any information, or if there's any way we can work in partnership for the future, I'll be happy to consider.
Okay, great. As I said, if you put your details on chat, your email address, I will forward that on to Elsa. No problem.
Yeah, so it's all on there. No problem.
Yeah.
And your website, if you have one as well, please.
Yes, on there as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Excellent.
Now, so it's Tony. I'm
just a quick. Oh, sorry.
This afternoon as well. So we'll pick that up this afternoon, Yoni. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's good, Tony.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just a quick question. Will we be given a copy of this presentation at all?
Yes, we will send out a copy of the slides over the next day or two for sure.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Okay. Excellent, Jerry. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to close the presentation. Thank you all for attending. If you need to get hold of me, you have my details. You've got received, I'm sure, several emails from me. Or you can speak to Tony. We'll be happy to put you through to a one-to-one sort of a session. And Melvin, if you want to touch base with me outside, and we can see what we can do to help you. Okay?
Sure. Thank you very much. Really
Thank you. Thank you for your active participation, everybody. Thank you very much. No more questions. I can be on for another 5 minutes or so. If there's any more questions, there aren't any more, we can close.
Thanks.
No more questions. Thank you so much for your time and for all the information. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. And thank you, Tony, for facilitating. Much appreciated. And speak to you soon and see you on the next one on the 24th.
Yep.
Thank you
thanks,
very much.
Nelson.
Thank you, Ruthan. Thank you.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Cassandra, thank you.